So when people say silly things like why would God create the devil or why would God create evil and all these other things, and they have simple explanations in the Bible. What I tell people, even this whole devil concept is what be throwing people off in the first place. Because the fact of the matter is, devil is just the opposition. You understand? You could talk about the different types of devils and the different type of fallen angels and demonic entities, right? But when we're talking about, when we're saying the devil in general, people understand this is the opposite of what you would call God in this polarity. So really, there, if we're talking about really what we call the devil is really more so the egoic state of being. This is what people understand. What we call the Satan is tied to this archetypical nature of the ego, right? Versus what you would call the higher nature of the crown, where you can bring and unify oneself together, right? And in this sense, we would say that this would be the aspect of the crown energy, or what we call the most high frequency. And this is my thing, y'all. Y'all don't understand. This is why people that say a devil's more to divide, or a devil deals with the negative polarity of energy. So if we have like positive and negative currents of energy, like positive negative electrical currents or magnets or electricity, Elohim, like the right angle, right? Right, this is what people understand, is that this always it's always talking about what they would call the Taurus field. Or you have two parts of the Taurus field, or you have the Taur and the bull. You have the central pedal force, which is that decaying spin, and you have the central fugal force, with the understanding of this, what they call the red and the blue, right? Or what you call the red chakra, or the root, and then the blue chakra, third eye, which would also be connected. That's the third eye, but we're talking about this blue flame, Michael, and we're talking about the red connected to what they call the devil, which is just Set. It's like Set and Osiris, right? This is what people understand. So in that same sense, we're saying that this Elohim, which is this positive and negative electrical states of being, right? We're talking about the awareness that the Elohim is one is what we call how electricity, when it's condensed on a magnetic field, it creates what you call fire. And so what type of fire when we're creating in water, right? We're talking about, you have something called an amber fire and something called a fire, this blue fire, and is what they call a magnetic fire, right? And so they call it lodestone, but it becomes the radiation, and this radiation becomes the electromagnetic spectrum in a sense. Now we're saying that, okay, if we're talking about this part of the spectrum that we see, the seven colors of rainbow, or the visible light spectrum, right, you would have an angel and a devil. You would have a higher being and a lower being. You, on the one end, you'd have the ultraviolet spectrum, right, and on the other end, but if you was to think of a wavelength like this, on one end you would have the ultraviolet, faster, smaller nanometers, and on the other end you would have the big old radio waves, and they would be vastly slower and bigger versus smaller and faster. You understand? And this is how energy works, is because you're talking about light and sound vibration, frequency, right? Oscillations, what they call. It's hertz down here, but then before the physical manifestation of what they call the hertz and different things like that, it would be oscillating at an even faster rate than that. So this is what I'm saying, is like, for people to understand this, you got to understand that consciousness is everything. And when people think of a devil, it can, or what we call this devil nowadays, it starts to cause people to get in a fear state of mind, or they get in a scared state of being, or they become scary, or they become fearful, and then they start to be scared of the unknown. So now they're scared to get into what we call the feminine energy. And so this is going into a whole nother topic for another video, but if I split this video up, what I'm saying is the feminine energy was the real chaos mother, or what we call disorder. You feel what I'm saying? And then what we call order is the eternal awareness, that consciousness that always exists. So what we're saying is that natural feminine energy from that disorder doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's disordered. And then to bring it into order, or to bring what they call the will of the Most High into that creation, right? This is what we're saying, because it's not really about it being chaotic. It's about being a natural process, and then to create within the feminine energy, or the mother, and create that solar energy within that. You feel me? Because you're creating within the subconscious mind. This is what I'm saying. So what they call this negativity is actually, what we're saying is the manifestation of things that are on high to manifest down, or from things can manifest from complete spirit coming down into itself to become a physical thing, like an egg or a seed, right? And then blossoming back out into something of a eternal flame, but or infinite aspects of yourself. But first, you to understand that concept, for you to understand this, is for you to graduate within your consciousness, in a sense, because now you understand that the negative feminine energy is never evil, because it was once one. It was once one force. It was once positive and negative together. You feel what I'm saying? The masculine and feminine of our bodies was once male and female together, but now it's separated into male and female. It was androgynous. So, but in this sense, and then the female came first, then the male. Later on, when we had the physical manifestation of the female, it came first, then the male. Feel what I'm saying? This is also XY chromosome. But this is what I tell people, is this how you understand when it comes to that feminine energy. It was already naturally, the things that was in the deep was already naturally there. And for you not to be scared of something like that, understand, you feel what I'm saying? And this is what people don't understand. So this is why I even get into these things, because then you can understand when the divine nature came into being, or you're talking about when the Most High had manifested into the physical, right? Then we're talking about how things can manifest down, and we can have this what we call life, or this creation of what we call what we always call Ray Nu, or Ra Nu, or Ra Nun, or which basically how Ray would go from, it would go from the sun or the fire, and how fire is all-consuming fire, will burn itself out through time and space, die, and then it will, go back into the primordial waters of the mother feminine energy. And this is what people got to understand. So this universe will eventually, you get where I'm going, and then you understand that. But in infinity, though, it's just a unit in space-time. You get what I'm saying? And this meaning it continuously expands out as dark energy does. You feel me? So this is what I'm saying, is that this whole devil thing became something later. It became something later. This is explaining the process of us having what they call jinns inside of us, or imagine jinns, whether it's an angel, or a demon, or, you feel me, or archon. And they would understand how you get through these gates of the chakras by understanding self first. You feel me? And then you're able to navigate your way through these different aspects of the consciousness when it comes to these different forces of these beings, these entities, and different things like that.